would you ever compete against Logan Paul in a WWE ring in a match?
Have you ever seen me wrestle before? Look at Mike Tyson.
Yes, you're not bad. You're not that bad, Mike. I've seen you against Chris Jericho. You teamed with DX. You did some stuff with AEW. You can get in there with Logan Paul. And you want to talk about
I will do it. Yeah, I will kick his fucking ass after. I will do it.
Pro Wrestling Bits. Subscribe now.
I know you were a guest of honor at the Gervonta Davis-Ryan Garcia fight this past weekend. Huge fight. Davis was victorious by knockout, as you predicted. And Davis is now saying Tank Davis feels he is the face of boxing. Do you agree, and why?
Whoa, listen. He is possible. He is truly right. He is the face of boxing. But that's because Ryan Garcia is the draw. You know what I mean? And that makes him the face of boxing because the amount of people that he fills in the arena. You know, since that fight, normally Ryan Garcia fans will turn over to Tank fans, and he's going to have the biggest drawing power, I believe. Because Ryan brought those people out, and normally when the draw gets beaten, like Ryan, when he gets beaten, the people that was his fans are now Tank fans. And especially how the fight ended. It ended with them being friends, showing respect for each other.
Absolutely. Beautiful thing. So, yes, Gervonta will increase in profile after beating a star as big as Ryan Garcia. And do you see anybody stopping Gervonta Davis, or do you think he's going to go his whole career undefeated?
It's a great possibility that's true. But then he got Devin Haney, and he had Shakur.
Yes.
You know? Well, those guys they're very good. Those are the only two guys that are a threat to him.
I know you had some words with Gervonta because people compared you to, and you disagreed. But who does Gervonta remind you of?
So many different great fighters. So many different fighters. I think it's a disjustice that he only compared to him with me. He's so many other great fighters. Pernell Whitaker, Floyd Mayweather. He's just he's a bruiser too when he wants to be a bruiser. He's he's special fighter. So his only threat is Devin Haney and Shakur Stevenson.
What do you see in these fighters that make them equipped to defeat Gervonta Davis? Somebody as skilled as Gervonta.
Their experience. I know they boxed before, and some people got the advantage over others in sparring. Sparring's not like fighting. For some reason, people don't fight as hard as they spar, or some people don't train as hard as they fight. It's just a strange dynamics in that.
Yeah, and for all these fighters, you now are developing high-end boxing equipment, which really does seem like the best boxing glove in the world, and Tyson Pro, mitts, gloves, wraps, wrist protection.
This is one
this
is a form of Tyson sport. Tyson Pro is just a beautiful made leather glove, and I had it used by professional fighters, heavyweights, and it passed the test.
It really does. I was looking at all the features it has: thumb close to the fist, wrist protection broken in. To you, what is the number one thing that makes a great boxing glove?
To be very comfortable and have a great deal of confidence in the glove. See, most people that are punchers want to fight in raised glove because that's a puncher's glove, but it doesn't necessarily protect your hand. So I punch in like a boxing glove, like Everlast, because fortunately I can punch hard enough to hurt you in that glove, but not everybody can hurt you in the Everlast glove. So that's why people like to fight with the gloves with the less padding. But I need the most padding because I have to protect my hand. And the glove is snug. There's not much movement in the glove because that's how you break your hand with the movement. You have to stay straight, like almost like a calf.
How much more dangerous would you have been if you had Tyson Pro in your prime?
I'm unfortunate I wasn't that lucky to be able to have these gloves when I was fighting. But listen, I hit the bag in them, I work in them, and I'm just looking forward to highlighting them.
And I got to admit, Mike, even though we're on Zoom, you in those boxing gloves is kind of making me nervous a little bit.
No way, man.
I know the logo on there, even on Tyson Pro, it's your iconic tattoo, which I know represents warrior status, but it's also being used to build your brand. So how has that meaning of your tattoo changed? What does it mean to you today?
The tattoo is who I am. It represents Mike Tyson, so that's what I use to represent on my products.
This is a derivative of your tattoo.
And this is another derivative, the Tyson Pro.
Ooh.
This is the bag for the gloves to go in.
This logo, it's now being used to build your brand, and I absolutely love that. You've got such a thriving brand outside of boxing. Of course, you've got a cannabis company, which is amazing. And we just had 420. How did you celebrate 420?
I celebrated 420 in Kansas City, Missouri. Yeah, they had the big 420 fest out there.
Oh, that's awesome. So got a little high, maybe enjoyed some music and stuff like that?
Listen, I used to enjoy the vision of the people celebrating what should have been legal since the beginning of time, of its existence, of course.
Yeah, they're legalizing it all over the country, so I think that's great
Even
for
with
athletes.
Even with athletes as
Yeah.
well, basketball and professional football, I believe football, I'm not sure.
Do you hear from athletes and work with maybe different athletes and supplying them and giving them some samples?
I deal with an array of different people from all over the world that's interested. Listen, I'm in like 15 stores, no, probably, 15 stores in other countries, like 40 in this state.
Wow, that's incredible. I really love this empire that you've built with Cannabis, Hotboxin, one of my favorite podcasts. I think you're a tremendous interview. And it really reminds me of George Foreman, how he built his empire as a businessman. How has George Foreman inspired you, if at all, in your business ventures?
What he did was so amazing. And not only, I'm so proud that he did something to that magnitude. And that's very inspirational. Yeah, I would say so. Him and Magic Johnson. Pretty much Magic Johnson, they're my heroes as far as the business perspective goes.
Have you spoken with George? Has he given you good business advice? And if so, what's some of the best advice you've ever received from him?
I haven't had the chance to speak with him for a moment. And I would be delighted to get some of his insight in boxing. And yeah, I would be looking for some advice from him and Magic. You know, I look up to them as far as business is concerned, and Michael Jordan. But yeah, that's the reason. But Magic Johnson, I'm sorry, is the reason that I got involved with business, because I wanted to be a businessman, because he was the first of that I'm aware of our generation of sports that stepped over that line of entrepreneurship.
What would you say those most important lessons you've learned in terms of entrepreneurship, something that you've used to continue to build these brands?
Always don't make fast reactions. Think it over, wait a while. Look to be involved with people, look to be involved in partnerships with the right energy. And that's what it's all about, partnership and building brands and building corporations and helping communities.
George Foreman, of course, he's got a movie coming out. Do you plan on seeing the George Foreman movie?
Absolutely, yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
I know there have been so many documentaries and movies about you unauthorized. When are we going to get a Mike Tyson movie that maybe you sign off on and can stand by?
Hey, I don't know, but I'm sure it's going to happen shortly or later. Just have to find the right people and the right staff and the right people that are really interested in making this authentic story.
And I know you're still starring in movies. You're going to be in a movie called Black Files alongside the great Sean Penn. What was that experience like, and what can we expect to see in that?
A lot of intense action. Yeah, it's really awesome movie. And I'm just really grateful and appreciative to be in the movie with Mr. Penn.
What can you tell me about the role you're playing? Because I've heard a lot of great things about it's a different role for Mike Tyson, and you're going to be blown away. So what kind of things you can tell me about your involvement in this movie?
I'm somewhat of a fire chief, but that's all I can tell you.
Okay. I look forward to it. I think it fits. I can see it.
So am I. I believe it's going to Canada, Utah, wherever it goes. Wherever it go, I want to be there.
Now that we're on the topic of movies, I know you've come out and said that you would destroy, hypothetically, you would destroy Rocky Balboa and Apollo Creed. Have you gotten a chance to see any of the new Creed movies, though? How do you think you'd fare in the ring against Michael B. Jordan as Adonis Creed?
It depends on who I'm portraying.
A fighter. You would be Mike Tyson in his prime.
But I have to be the person they want me to be for the movie, of course. But to be a part of that, that's really an honor. I was involved with one of them. I did one of them. I was in it. Antonio Tarver was in it.
Yes, yes.
I had a good time doing that. I was an agitator. I was an irritant to Rocky at the movies. Yeah.
Yes, that's a Rocky Balboa movie. And we're now coming up on the 100-year anniversary of the Chicago Golden Gloves, which is the oldest amateur boxing circuit. I know you're a former Golden Gloves champion in 1984. So how important is it for these amateur boxers to have the Golden Glove events?
There's not enough boxing clubs in the country. When I was fighting, there were boxing clubs all over the country. We all came to certain tournaments, national tournaments, and we all fought each other. There's not enough boxing clubs. In New York City, they must have been 100 boxing clubs in certain vicinities to one another, so the kids can always fight each other and pretty much become the exponent of their art. And it's not that anymore. The kids, listen, Willie Pep fought Sugar Ray Robinson in the amateurs. Back then, there were hundreds of boxing clubs. Yeah. All the great fighters that were great professionals fought each other probably 10, 15 times in the amateurs. Most of those guys, like you hear a guy about Lomachenko, he had 500, 400 amateur fights. That was the norm back in the 50s. Sugar Ray Robinson had around 500, 400 amateur fights. It was just the normal stuff back like in 1950s and 1920s. That was the norm. The guys now, they could get 10, 15, 20 fights. And before that, they're millionaires before they even got a title fight. And these guys had to fight all their life and still ended up with probably $1 million after 30 years, 25 years, and they never saved their money.
So when you think of guys like that who fought their whole careers and really ended up with nothing, and then you see celebrity boxers, somebody like a Logan Paul, some influencers who are able to become immediate millionaires from the boxing venture. What do you feel about that?
The boxers in the past didn't have the opportunities of the boxers today and 20 years ago. Imagine if Muhammad Ali was around and he was healthy and he was doing these autograph signings. Can you imagine Muhammad Ali doing an autograph session? It'd be for days. It'd be around the corner. They'd never have a chance to stop. They have to, it'd be crazy. Times make the fighter makes the times. And Ali made this for us. Even though he never benefited from it, he allowed this to happen. And all the other fighters are benefiting from it.
100%. Ali did a great job of adding an entertainment element to boxing, as you did. And both of you guys grew up fans of professional wrestling. Were very influenced and inspired by it. I know you grew up watching guys like Bruno Sammartino. I just seen a documentary.
I had his shirt on yesterday, Bruno Sammartino.
Yeah.
And, wrestling I'm in the Wrestling Hall of Fame.
Yes, WWE Hall of Fame. I saw your documentary on A&E about WrestleMania 14.
And I loved wrestling all my life as a kid, the Valiant Brothers, Bruno Sammartino, and I was really, that's just who I was, the arrogant talker and make the bad guy, people booed. But that's what I realized. You can't remember the good guy without the bad guy. That's what makes the good guy famous, the bad guy. The good guy is nothing without the bad guy. The bad guy is the biggest draw. That's why Floyd Mayweather and myself were the biggest draw, because we were the bad guys.
I feel like you're obviously a good guy in terms of life after boxing today. People love you, but you seem like you took more pride and you enjoy playing the heel, the villain more.
Hate is really very close to love. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's very close. The two elements are very close. And just as much as you can love somebody, you can always have an opportunity to hate him. And just like you can hate somebody, he always give you the opportunity to love him because of how he handles his adversity.
And you did a good job using that with WrestleMania 14. That was WWE's biggest event to date to that point because of you. And now we talked about Logan Paul. He's actually wrestling now. I don't know if you've caught any of his wrestling matches. He's very good. What do you think about Logan Paul's wrestling?
From an ego perspective, I like to believe I started all this stuff. If me and Roy Jones did this, nobody was thinking about doing this. And then when we did do it, we put Logan Paul on our undercard. So listen, I feel like when I see him looking good and doing well, I always stick up for him, because when he makes it good and he makes all the money and stuff, I get the credit too. Because without me, he would have never had a platform that elevated for his first time.
And I know he's called you out for a boxing match.
So I take pleasure in that. Yeah, I don't think he's really that serious in that. I'm not really, but I'm just happy that he's receiving the success that he has. That's why, for my ego, I feel I had so much to do with that. So I'm not going to ever tear him down, because that's going to make me look like a dick.
And I know he may not be that serious about a boxing fight, but because of his skills in wrestling, because of your connection to wrestling, would you ever compete against Logan Paul in a WWE ring in a match?
Have you ever seen me wrestle before? Look at Mike Tyson.
Yes, you're not bad. You're not that bad, Mike. I've seen you against Chris Jericho. You teamed with DX. Yeah. You did some stuff with AEW. You can get in there with Logan Paul. Yeah. You want to talk about?
I will do it. Yeah, I would kick his fucking ass. Yes, I would do it. Even though I love him, though.
Let's go. WrestleMania's in Philadelphia. WrestleMania 40.
This is what I found out about WrestleMania, right? Everybody say, that's fake, that's fake. But the check is real. The check is real.
It is. Yeah, and I know you got a big check for WrestleMania 14 out there in Boston.
I do, but listen, deep down inside, I don't let them know I would do this for free. You
don't want to let them know. So I know that this glove is built for all fighters, and seeing Kamal Usman wear these gloves. MMA fighters. Do you have plans to extend Tyson Pro into more MMA gear as well?
Listen, we're gonna have the MMA gear. We're gonna have the WWE gear. We're gonna be the tailors of athlete. We be the tailors of athlete wear, and this is what should happen. Listen, this is what I think heavy championship fights should get custom-made gloves. They should have their hands formed and have custom-made gloves. Championship fights, you have custom-made gloves.
Yeah.
In the fight, get them wrapped and have them made with the wraps and everything. And just have their own custom-made gloves. Championship fights, probably heavyweight fights to start with, and then we'll go down to the lower guys.
Absolutely. And then Tyson Pro will be everywhere.
Yes, because they're only going to take 4 pair of gloves a fight, because only the heavyweights will be wearing them at that particular time if they're interested, which I'm sure they will be, because they'll be their gloves.
And you talk about working with UFC and WWE. UFC and WWE just merged under the same umbrella under Endeavor. Do you have any thought about that?
Why wouldn't boxing do the same?
I agree.
It'd be something like Nelson Rockno. It'd be something like, it'd be something familiar with like the Rockefellers, because when he monopolized the whole oil system, and then they make him break it up. He had more money breaking it up than he did monopolizing it. And so that's going to be something, interesting to do too when time comes, and we sell shares to certain people and still collect.
How do you think Endeavor would help boxing in terms of getting to that next level?
I think if they all form together, they could highlight together. They could all be seen together.
Yeah.
It won't be a situation. Fighters will be fighting in square rings at one time, still with the ropes and everything. We have to make combat sport so have such an affinity with the combat world that it's going to be the biggest athletic sports in general, from the beginning of eternity to the end. We have to change sport and turn it into a total entertainment field. Total entertainment, total math, and costumes, all that stuff, everything. You know what I mean? Take it to its highest potential, to the imaginations of everybody. Almost become God status.
Yeah, I think that absolutely would be, because as much as it's important to compete, what draws people, what creates a compelling boxing match, I think is just as much the characters, what they say, what conflict they have, and the entertainment value.
100%, 100%. Boxing alone fighting alone won't last.
Mm-hmm.
No, fighting alone won't last. Entertainment will last forever. That's why the fighter has to be exciting. Entertainment can last forever. But then again, when it's not exciting, the fighters in boxing and MMA, this is what Ultimate Championship in wrestling is different than boxing.
Mm-hmm.
And boxing, a guy can have a really stinking fight and they use him again. And MMA and wrestling, if you don't draw people and you stinking the place out, you never see that guy again.
Yes.
That's how boxing happens. Anybody that stinks the place out, he should fight in Alaska somewhere. It's about entertainment. Even the gloves, the special gloves made, that's entertainment too. The size of all the fighters' hands being showcased. You know, something that people can talk, wow, he got that big hand, wow, he got small hands. Everything that people have to constantly be thinking about it. And when you're not fighting, the people should be thinking, when's the next time he's gonna fight again? It's all about entertainment. You know, the guys getting mad at each other, fighting. Ryan Garcia and Tank Davis, if you wouldn't know better, you would think these guys hate each other. After the fight, they hugged each other. They're very respectful and dignified to each other. See, I'm surprised. The guy, Tank Davis, is a beautiful person. He is like to be in a bad man's shadow. He's just an awesome kid. I had no idea he was that awesome.
And entertainment lasts forever. I really like that quote. And you're an embodiment of that because you're entertaining as a fighter. You're entertaining in your Hotboxing podcast, which honestly is something I listen all the time.
My mentor, Custom Model, he died at 77, 78, right?
Yeah.
He never forgot Jack Dempsey and Louis, what's his name, Rudo Valentino.
Yeah.
Those are the biggest stars. And Al Jolson, he always talked about those guys. And that's till he died. He always talked to me about those guys besides the fighters and stuff. Those were the Red Grange, the Galloping Goat. Yeah. Those were the guys of his time. You know, John Barrymore and all those guys. Those were his guys. You know, from the image of his childhood, like Muhammad Ali and the guys now, an image from who I am now.
And you have very entertaining interviews on Hotboxing as well. Who has your favorite interview been on Hotboxing?
Wow, I had a lot. The one that's probably one of my favorite is one that people wouldn't really care about. I think one with Little Bootsy.
Bootsy badass.
Yeah, because he's one of those guys too that got that touch image and think he's bad and he's hardcore and he's really hot and he's a nice fucking guy. he's a nice guy, this guy. All those guys, I was that way too. You're scared to show that good side, the respectful side, because you think you hang around so many animals, you think they're gonna take advantage of you. You hang around so many hyenas, and if you're weak in the lion, the hyena family, the wolf family, they all attack you. Don't come around wounded or hurt or got some blood on you that rip you apart. No weakness is allowed in the animal world.
I mean, that sounds like the ingredients of a great fighter, to be honest, Mike. Do you think Bootsy would have made a great fighter?
Definitely. Definitely Bootsy would have made a great fighter. You know, there's a lot of lawyers and doctors that would have became great fighters. They got their girlfriend pregnant and they had to marry her and go back to school or something like that. You know? The greatest fighters than like a neurosurgeon or something like that. He has never had the opportunity because his parents say, I'm not investing in that no more. We need to go to school.
Yeah, makes sense. Is there anybody just all time, alive or dead, who would be your dream interview on the Hotboxing podcast?
Woo, golly. Anybody? Anybody who ever lived. King David.
Wow. Why is that?
I want to see if he was black or not.
And then after you saw it, that interview would be over? You wouldn't have any questions?
No, because I would definitely ask questions. I would ask him, what does this mean that he so-called quoted? I'll do Alexander the Great. I'll do Genghis Khan, Attila the Hun, Vlad the Impaler, King John.
That's great. Well, Mike, it's been such an honor to speak with you. I very much enjoyed this. Congratulations on all your success. I'm very excited about Tyson Pro, about your movie. I can't wait to see that. Thank you so much.
Love, brother.